and Gaming Gladiators.
You like these lineups, Cinderman?
I do. I mean, I was just counting how many of these heroes we haven't cast yet in the series that we did yesterday and the one previously.
That's pet number one. Sorry to.
So we've cast 6 games so far.
Yeah.
And I think we've had no game with Lycan, no game with AM, no game with Quap. No, did we have Quap? I don't think we had a Quap either. I mean, the tournament has had them, but for us, I think we're casting those 3 for the first time, and maybe even Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon we also haven't had in our games. So like 4 or 5 heroes in this game we haven't cast yet.
Yeah.
So that's pretty refreshing. It's nice to see, and I think as far as the lineups go, I think there's definitely some clear merit to both of them. I love this last pick, Lycan. I think it's the best pick of the draft, and you could tell Gaming Gladiators were very, very happy. They were definitely feeling themselves. So, yeah, there's a lot of good things about this. As the panel talked about, the pace that it can set, its ability to overrun the enemy supports, and the way that they can set up lanes. There's a lot of positives about this hero.
Well, we should mention the records as we get into this game. Gaiman are 4-2. Aster are 3-3, Mr. Cinderman. I mean, Gaiman have been, I guess, falling off as the, falling off a bit.
It's like if you're 4-2 and that's falling off, that shows how good you are, right?
Yeah.
Like that's considered falling off for Gaiman. And as long as they manage to get, you know, I don't think it's extremely crucial for them to place very high in this as long as they progress to the next group stage and they learn something. And of course, keep in mind, they also are already qualified for the Masters, right? Because they won the previous time around. So there's less at stake for them in a way than some of the other teams. But despite that, they're not, it doesn't feel like they're slacking, right? And they're just phoning it in. They're definitely still.
I mean, part of it is just
well.
human nature to do that anyway, right? It's not like they're playing like garbage or anything like that.
No, but we've seen teams like you win 2 or 3 lands back to back, you kind of fall off a bit, and maybe you chill. And Quinn was saying in an interview that they had been definitely not been playing as much as they were during the start of the DPC. But I guess their base level is just so high right now. Celery will get flame broken here. No further connection from XXS, so that will be the end of that.
So it will be the position 1 Medusa. Always a question mark whether that gets hard counter to the point where you need to make it a different position. I mean, they did pick the AM. You picked a Morphling, which could theoretically go Diffusal. We have seen that. It's a little weird, but it is stat efficient for such a high agi hero. Quap is not a hero that goes for anything like that. Do you think that this is a good enough lineup against the Medusa?
I personally think their lineup is fine against Medusa. It's still going to be the Lycan that's the biggest problem for me. Is can they handle the kind of pace that Ace is playing? Because I think their heroes can navigate around the Medusa well in the fight. Kez was also talking about this, right? You have Morphling, AM. They're very mobile. They can kite. Batrider to an extent can also kite over cliffs. Queen of Pain has the blink, so you have tons of ways of just getting away. But the issue where the Lycan comes into play is that he's going to constrict your map, he's going to be pushing the towers, and he's going to be running down your supports during the fights when they try to get away. So.
I'm sorry, did you answer the question, or did you actually just say something totally...
No, I answered the question. You said if their lineup can handle Medusa. I think it can.
Okay.
I think the Lycan is the bigger challenge.
Yeah, okay. I'm just checking, because I wasn't listening for the first half, as you might imagine.
That's par for the course. I'm actually proud you listened to 50%. That's personal best for the event.
I mean, you're the same, so...
Hey, don't Uno reverse me on that. I've been listening to you the whole time.
What did I just say?
That's a good question.
That's exactly right, Cinderella.
No, you Uno reversed me. I remember now.
You said that. You listened to yourself.
No,
Good
you
job.
reversed me.
Okay.
You said no, you basically. That's what you said.
Okay. Close enough, I suppose. Monet playing the Morphling this time around. And, I mean, how is this matchup against Medusa, though, as a whole? Like, let's forget about the Diffusal Blade potential. Just hero versus hero.
I mean, it's just...
And what hero does he want to become in this game?
It's a weird way of thinking about Medusa, I think, a lot of the time, because I don't think most carries really approach the matchup in that way.
Yeah,
it's
but
more
it's
about
fun to think about it.
Playing around the hero. I mean,
it's like you're looking at 2 prized fighters, 1v1. Obviously, it's a team game.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to talk about.
I mean, as far as the possible options that you have, I would say Morphling is one of the ones that fights Medusa the best, just total amount of raw stats, high armor, and the fact that you can, you know, stick on her, but you can also get away when you need to, where other carries maybe commit in and then can't really get away. But especially when Morph gets to high level, he can, you know, have the lower waveform cooldown on level 25.
Quinn might be in some trouble.
He's
TP's coming in, but he is dead. First blood for Sumail. Nice gank overall from Baboka.
Oh, actually, maybe.
The tower shot will help this. Potentially 2 stacks of Shadow Poison. We'll miss the third.
I actually think that I think the disruption might have saved him.
Oh, meanwhile, Siamese Cat gets taken out in the bot lane by Tofu, so...
Because I think Celery disrupted during a tower shot, so Baboka dodged that tower shot. He gets to regen a bit during the disruption, and then he gets to go and die to the tower over there instead, so... The credit was still given to Shadow Demon, so I do think that actually in the end didn't really matter that much.
How long do you have to wait for that not to be the case? Is it
I don't remember.
like
30
seconds or something?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, Ace will be playing the Lycan. You kind of touched upon how Aster's going to have a bit of trouble trying to contain him.
I like this Bat TP a lot. They need to get something out of this. Ace is starting to fall already, and Bat Rider is the hero that
he actually blocks in Siamese a bit with his wolves, his pets, as some would call them. Baboka is going to get the Firefly, but Tofu just TP's out. And Ace, he's going to get blood grenaded. Flame Break back, TPing out, but Adaptive Strike is there. So this is going to be a valuable kill going the way of Aster. Only question is who picks it up. Gets blood grenaded again. This is actually harder than it looks.
Oh my, if he doesn't.
Okay.
So this is a huge kill for a couple of reasons. First of all, Ace was doing great in the lane, but the fact that he TP'd makes it twice as bad.
Yeah.
If he would have just succumbed to that and been like, all right, I got ganked, I died, whatever, and come back to lane is fine. But this amount of time that Monet gets to play 2v1 is really valuable for the Morphling to start getting a little bit more of a grip on the lane, get an experience lead, and get more damage than Ace. This is a long run to that bottom lane without boots, as offlane Lycan will generally never buy that item.
Tofu, he gets brought back to the low ground via that Flame Break. Nice Searing Chains, but not going to be able to help Tofu in the end, as Sumail gets another kill to his name.
Aster doing a good job at enabling Sumail in this game. That gank onto the mid, and now the gank again. I really want to emphasize this Sumail versus Quinn matchup, and this would be the perfect time to kill Quinn before he hits 6, but I don't think it's possible anymore. And now he will grab the 6 as well.
Yeah, and this is one annoying part being AM against the Shadow Demon, is when you get the illusions created, they're going to auto-attack a couple times before you can even blink. You're just mana burning yourself. We've actually seen matchups in the past, obviously this was position 1 AM, where you literally do not get, you hold the points on the mana break until much later in the game.
Yeah.
But it just feels bad either way.
It's too important to have the value point in this lane for XXS, and I think the dynamic also has changed quite a bit because Anti-Mage since back then has got a lot tankier with this Vanguard build and not needing to rush Battle Fury if even get it at all, right? In this game he's offlane, so he's not even going to buy the item. But since he is going for the Diffusal to try to deal with Medusa, it is going to make those illusions extra juicy, right? For Celery to get later down the line. Flame Break from Baboka being annoying.
Yeah, ever since they added the ability for AM to have Diffusal, I'm wondering when that will actually make its way into
Quinn needs to be careful. Oh yeah, fake out there with the Sonic Wave. Quinn quick on the button to get away. But he was in lethal range from that Sonic Wave there.
You can see Sumail has a 1,000 net worth lead from the mid lane, and a lot of that is just the kills because the CS is actually relatively close. As
nice
we see some action here.
Very clean.
Disruption onto Celery. Will only buy him a little bit of time as he's taken up by XXS.
And that's another thing about the matchup you talked about, right? Because in the past, AM actually didn't have the Reflect. He just had Spell Shield.
True.
But now you have a counterplay against the Shadow Demon if you... It's a very skill-based matchup at this point.
Oh, Sonic Wave hits, and that's enough for Sumail to get his third. He is off to an amazing start this game. Not able to get the rune.
Yeah, interesting to see the Falcon Blade as well. I feel like this item was really popular, and then it fell out of favor a little bit again. And there's still some heroes that buy it, but let's say it definitely isn't as popular now as it was a year ago. Sumail is running that. They're going to give him a bottle refill here with Pichu TPing in. Sumail is definitely the king of this game so far. As to the Queen, ironically.
Trying to think of the times where somebody has moved as a Western player to China
I can only think of one other example.
Well, the Misery team, right?
Oh.
The original LGD Int.
Yes, so there's LGD Int, and then the one that I was thinking, because that was a relocation of an international team, right?
This is Black, I'm guessing, from
Black on
VG.
Vici Gaming is the only other example I can think of a Western player playing for a Chinese team.
Yeah, LGD Int, that's 5 Westerners in China. It's different than having just one on a team of Chinese players. So
I guess
very rare.
Technically, Vici Gaming wasn't 4 Chinese players and Black, right? I think it was 3 Chinese players and Ice.
Yeah, that's
if I'm not mistaken.
actually.
But still, I mean, Ice speaks fluent Chinese to my knowledge, so.
And Celery getting gone on. XXS and company should be able to find him in the end.
Yep. -2.
Int going the way of Siamese.
What do you say? What do you say when Silencer gets a kill? Do you say -2 or +2? I always say -2.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a very negative outlook.
Yeah, you would think that makes sense for me, though. For you,
it's always -2.
Ever optimist, so that's strange.
Quinn's a full level behind here in mid now.
Yes.
Samel. Sonic Wave online again. Could be looking for another potential opening if there's a rotation available from a... I guess you don't really have the best ganking heroes, so probably not. But I gotta say, this early game for Aster is shaping up pretty good. Like, the anti-mage lane against the Shadow Demon has worked out well. He's level 8. He's Vanguard and closing in the Diffusal. He's almost taking the tower. Samel's been crushing it mid. And Monet's game is... I mean, by Monet's standards, this might not be the best. He's 5th on net worth, which is kind of unusual. But it's so close that it's not really that big of a deal. And this tower is definitely going down now with the Siege Wave for XXS.
And for Sumail, what's the item build that we see on Quap in this patch?
That's a good question.
Because Aghanim Scepter was popular for a while, but I personally haven't seen a ton of it.
He's gone in for the Witchblade now, so very heavy single target damage. A lot of pressure. This is such a feels good item on the hero as well for the projectile speed and everything that comes with it. I feel like Axe is good still, right? In theory, against something like Medusa and Lycan, it should be pretty cool because of how many targets you're going to hit.
Ooh, Searing Chains misses here for Quinn. So Baboka will live, although Celery makes his presence known, gets off the disruption. You can see Monet backing up Baboka, and that'll be the end of that. Either way, for Gaiman, Ace secures that tier 1 bot.
Yep.
And Sumail, he's going to find Tofu here. Curse is there on top of Tofu as well. Looks like Shadow Strike is what he stole. Not going to be too helpful right now. Looking for the deny, but Celery. Yeah, you got a hard memory. That one is, see the Lycanthrope? Popping the ult here. Celery just going to get burned to the ground. And the trade is the Silencer.
Quinn is not happy in this game. I feel like we haven't seen many games recently where Quinn has been off to this rough of a start. He's definitely he's improved a lot as a player at playing from behind. It used to be his biggest Achilles heel is when he was off to a bad start, he never really recovered. And I don't know if it was part of it's probably like a mental thing of feeling like you've let yourself and your team down by having a bad start or whatever, and part of it's just maybe inexperience with playing.
I think a big part
games,
from our conversations with him is probably he felt a lot of, like, when I say pressure, I don't mean like you're choking under pressure, but he feels pressure to actually be the one to perform for his team. But now you have a team that's amazing without you, technically. It's Dyrachio taking the Sonic Wave and the Mana Void from XXS. Basically what I'm saying, he has better players around him.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a very star-studded roster right now, but from the perspective of how this game plan is meant to run out, basically, for Gaming Gladiators, I think there was no better way for Aster to start. If they could have shut down any hero they wanted in this game, that is your pick. Like, I think it's better to let Lycan have this kind of a game than Ember. As much as I talked about the Lycan and what its potential is, it's not enough if Ember isn't able to match the pace, and so far Quinn is being absolutely annihilated in this game. I feel like I need to go quite a bit back to remember a lane that Quinn came out this poorly from. So maybe one of the games against Nine Pandas at the major?
Well, I think against Nine Pandas that we cast yesterday.
He got
off to a pretty bad start, but they did come back. I don't remember what hero he was playing, though. Remember, he got tipped by Ramses, and then they won.
Yeah, I don't think Quinn's game was that bad in that one, though.
I mean, he was down 1,000 around the same time. that he was this game.
Yeah, now he's down 2K minute 13.
Yeah, this one's a little bit worse for sure.
He has 1 assist on Ember minute 14 as well. They're going to find the last one. Celery.
Celery really racking up those deaths.
Yep. Freebie here for XXS. Actually going to go to Baboka.
Oh, almost died to the neutrals.
That was a nice try there from Celery, very deliberately running to the camp, but not quite getting it. Shadow Strike stolen again here. So Sumail is eyeing up the axe. I really liked his build-up order of going Falcon Blade into Witchblade and then getting Treads. So he bypassed the boots entirely until he had those 2 other core items. And man, I mean, talk about an inventory minute 14, right? And this one as well. Like both XXS and Sumail are having outstanding games, so much that we aren't really talking about Monet much because he just gets to farm. Like the other cores are doing so well that this is the dream Morphling scenario, is a game where you know your hero's slow and needs build-up time and has to farm, but you don't feel like the thing you talked about with feeling pressure of needing to do stuff. It's calm. Like his teammates can very well carry him for the next 10 minutes with him just hitting jungle.
Well, we'll see if that continues here, as you can see the smoke from Gaiman targeting Monet in the bot lane.
This is such a hard kill for their lineup, though.
He uses waveform.
Yeah, that's smart.
Going for the Searing Chains. He actually got off the attribute shift, I think, before that, surprisingly.
Turn into Ember and Slight, or that.
He gets disrupted again, but here comes XXS, and like you said, he's got a lot of items to work with, as the Global Silence will keep Quinn at bay for the time being. And here come the reinforcements. Sumail now focusing down the Rubik. And XXS, he's going to have to blink away from his own illusions, but you can see that Aster, with that lasso now, likely will find the 2 supports from Gaming Gladiators. But here comes Ace in that lycanthrope form, focusing down the Silencer. So basically all the supports dying, left, right, and center. Oh and a double kill for Ace as he cleans up Baboka.
Some things with Lycan just never change. Watching Lycan run down supports is just so ridiculous sometimes. And yeah, that turns into a really good move for Gaiman in the end, with Ace turning up and getting those cleanup kills. Nice thinking there from Monet, turning into the Shadow Demon instead of the Ember. I actually think it was important that he bought those 2.5 seconds instead of buying a Slight Chains. Enough for his teammates to connect, they get off the global, and they do bail him out of there and get a kill, but Ace still the big winner in all that. How did he get so much gold? Was there a streak? I don't even think he ended a streak. He didn't.
He's just rich.
Yeah, okay. Easily top net worth now by 1,000.
Well, you did talk about his presence in this game should be pretty free.
It's a great Lycan game, and it's also a great Morphling game at the same time. So both of these heroes have the potential to do a lot later down the line.
That's Tofu. He's going to get gone on, but the disruption there from Celery. You can see Siamese Cat. This is the support battle for the most part. Dyrachyo comes in with the Stone Gaze, though. Tofu!
Oh my god, he almost got one shot.
Dyrachyo able to wand back from a sliver amount of HP. And Ace looking for another support kill onto that Silencer, but the Flame Break gives him the distance. There's a Shadow Poison on him.
Wait, did XXS just solo Quinn? How?
Okay.
I guess he jumped Quinn, diffused him, and Quinn didn't have a Remnant out and couldn't get the distance because of the slow.
Wow.
And just got drained dry and killed off.
That was in the bot lane.
That is such a huge kill. Like, it's 500 gold for XXS and probably 3/4 of a level. And here's the rest of the chase down. I guess Quinn was just farming with...
He has no mana.
With low mana in the lane. And then, yeah, this is just the end of that.
You know what's funny? I just realized, you know how I've been saying that I don't think it would be that big of a deal if you added mana bars to the game? And everybody's response is, but AM would be so OP with the mana. You can literally tell when somebody's out of mana now when you're right-clicking. There's literally an effect,
well, you can tell when they're 0, but you can't tell if they have a quarter.
That's true. That's true.
But
keeping that alive, Simon, as always. But if you look at net worth, relatively even despite Gaiman feeling like they're quite behind, but we're talking about kind of a triple-headed monster in Aster.
Yeah.
Those 3 cores. I feel like they can just take over the game by themselves in a way.
You definitely have the luxury, because AM's game is this good, of becoming a carry, truly. And he is going for the Manta, which is pretty standard here. And after that, maybe something like Abyssal is on the menu, so you can lock down and just kill off the Shadow Demon or the Rubik instantly to start the fight. I think the name of the game for XXS is, yeah, you have the AM against Medusa, but I don't think your game plan is to kill the Medusa. I think your goal should be to assassinate supports. together with Bat, and then when the fight develops and gets long, that's when you kill off the Medusa in the end with all your mana burn. So,
well, this is one benefit of having Lycan, especially when you go the Helm of the Overlord build. You can just take Roche very fast.
Aster seemed completely unaware. They lack the critical information.
They did scan it, so they know, but they're not remotely
But they seem unaware.
Yes, it's all a ruse.
Despite not being. They're faking unawareness to game of Gladiators.
That's
so
right.
They feel confident. But now they'll be like all chatting, we knew you were doing it, and it will change everything.
So, talk to me about, I mean, it does still kind of make sense, but Quinn takes the Aegis. He's the lowest net worth of any core in the game, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
Perhaps with
Celery
that extra
is
life,
probably toast here.
be able to get back into this game. Celery is trying to walk off the curse.
Damn, they didn't know that he was alone. They were very scared of the reinforcements, but that was actually just a clean kill, probably. They will play it safe here. Aster, lack of knowledge there will keep him alive.
In these team fights for Monet, what's the #1 hero you want to turn into? I'm guessing,
I think
is
Ember.
He going Ags? Yeah, he's going Ags next.
I think Ember or Shadow Demon. The Disruption is actually a really powerful spell in this game. You can disrupt yourself and make strong illusions. You can disrupt the Medusa for a lot of damage. You can save your teammates, which also has value, obviously. But I do think Slide Chains is still probably the better one. But both options are good.
And XXS. Can't farm the fastest without the old Battle Fury, but of course it is an offlaner. You can't really afford to go for something like that. But has the Yasha and close to the Ultimate Orb, so the Manta is not too far in the future. And that's when killing, I mean, the Stone Gaze is really the main thing you have to worry about, but if you can avoid that, that's a kill onto the Medusa until she gets something like a Butterfly, which she actually is working on. So Dyrachyo actually only the quarterstaff away, so he's quite close.
He has very little strength with this build. I mean, obviously not that important, right? But fortunately for Dyrachyo, not facing an axe this
I was going to say. Yeah, there is Sonic Wave, that's
very
true.
low max health here, but I do think it's the best build. I like it a lot that he's rushing the Manta into Butterfly. There's just too much value in having it against both the AM and the Morph. It's the biggest EHP upgrade he can get. It's better than the Scotty against these heroes in particular. So, although I guess one upside to the Scotty here is actually his teammates, they have Slide Chains to keep people in place and Demonic Purge, but again, he might run into a little bit of a kiting problem. And now Sumail rocking that big item here, getting the Aghanim Scepter. So Shadow Strike becomes AoE, and when it ends or is reapplied, it throws out a Scream if the target is a hero. So likely going to hit Medusa +1 with most of these.
And Demonic Purge onto Baboka. He's surrounded by... Yeah, he gets blown up like a pinata. Good amount of gold going the way.
Is there a hero at this stage in the game? There can't be, right? Is there a hero in this stage of the game that can deal more damage to a target dummy in 10 seconds than Lycan, topping everything?
It's a lot of minus armor.
Maybe Meepo?
I don't know.
I feel like he can't beat this.
I don't think Meepo could beat that. At this stage, at least.
I mean, obviously Ursa if it's long enough, right? But just in a 10-second window, like
Tier 2 tower already down.
They're gonna go what?
They want to go high ground.
Okay.
And the tower has to be fortified.
Yeah, pinging out here. Celery says Batrider is missing. That's a good call. He does have a dagger. If Baboka finds a
they
pick,
see him though. The Searing Chains keeps him in place. And Gaiman just going to back away. Knowing that this fortification is down, all they need to do is get a pick off or two and they can try to go high ground again.
I have some good map control with this. Monet is still just off farming. His Aghanims is complete, I do believe.
Who's that?
The Morph. He went Ags, right? Yeah, it's coming out. So, assuming he will turn into the Dusa with that, probably. Otherwise, he shouldn't have bought it, right? I think.
I mean, it's not like it's bad on Ember still. You're talking about the reduction?
Yeah, there's not, like, stealing attack speed from Ember isn't particularly valuable, right? He's not hitting.
Is he sleight of fist?
It's just sliding, so the attack speed on the hero is irrelevant. You're obviously getting attack speed yourself, but you'd rather steal it from Dusa because then the offset is way bigger, the trade-off there. But I do think there was a case in this game for not going Ags. I'm actually not sure if this is the best item Monet could have bought.
Well, we'll find out as Gaiman are poking the bottom tower now. Of course, like we talked about, no fortification in sight for Aster. They're going to get one, though, after this tower goes down. Now the focus is on the melee racks with the Triceratops in tow. They still have the Aegis. There's the initiation. Global Silence instantly cast as well. Gaiman trying to relocate here. Looks like the Aegis is taken out, and the pop goes the Weasel. Medusa gets decimated. And these creeps, they're doing quite a bit of work, but it looks like Gaiman have to back off as Celery's going to get decimated by that Sonic Wave. It's going to be basically a double kill for Sumail. And now Quinn and Ace on the run. Quinn slowed to a crawl. Flame Break bought back and destroyed. So successful defense for Aster.
Global Silence, the total X factor in that play. It's so important that they can just go for Lasso Global and just kill the Medusa instantly like this.
Is Ace dead too?
They don't have a
TP
stun.
out, no stun. It's fine.
But yeah, that's big for Aster. It looked like they might be in some serious trouble with the risk of losing barracks, but the way they initiate this, they just blink Lasso the Medusa, the Global instantly to protect against both the telekinesis grab on the bat, but also the disruption save. And that's something Game and Gladiators don't have yet with their lineup. They don't have a Dispel for the Global, and Aster take full advantage of that. Sumail getting a nice triple here. And Aster now back in a very good spot in this game, and it looks a little bit like Game and Gladiators did not remember, I don't know if that's the right word, consider, I suppose, what Aster's, the synergy they have between their heroes with this Global plus Lasso.
Fly?
It's oh no.
There's a fly in the room? I don't know if I've ever seen a pause for a fly. If it was like a cockroach or something, sure, but...
I'm pretty sure if Fly walked into the room, I would pause as well. Shopify Rebellion should not be scouting and spying on your games like this.
Very naughty boy.
You have to watch the replay, Fly. Get out. This is a private team room.
I mean, okay, yeah. At what point do you not pause for a bug? If a fly is okay, like, if you pause it and say ladybug, is that acceptable? I'm trying to understand what threshold we're going with.
It reminds me of, I don't remember which land event it was, where Ice was pausing, just wrote cockroach. They were in the booth.
Yeah, and he put his feet up. I remember that. See, that one is very understandable. That is terrifying.
Actually, he was just flaming the enemy team. There wasn't a cockroach in the booth.
Playing like cockroaches.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say though, that's a really pivotal moment in the game. Aster pulling off that team fight, and you gotta feel like Gaiman just weren't fully considering that play as an option at the time with how they placed their heroes, because the execution that Aster had to do there wasn't particularly difficult. It was literally just blink, Lasso, press Global, and kill. And you knew Gaiman didn't have the tools. They didn't have a Lotus yet on the Shadow Demon. They didn't have some sort of other save. And Tofu with the Greaves now has a Dispel. I don't know if he had them at the time. But even if he does, what's he going to do? He's going to Dispel Global on himself and lift the bat, but I don't think that saves anyone.
Yeah, it's really Celery that needs this Lotus, right? Yeah. That's the save.
It's the biggest item in the game right now.
Or whoever is initiated on.
It is very needed. They should prioritize his farm. Does he have it, actually?
He's having it delivered now. Okay. So now that that's up.
Most important item in the game.
And maybe that's the hero you need to initiate on now, is the Shadow Demon.
I think so, too. And I don't think there's anything wrong with blinked Lasso Globaling and killing off the SD and just building a fight from that.
Well, I think the problem with that is potentially just buying back and getting back into the fight.
Right.
If there's an outpost nearby.
You absolutely have to be a little bit wary of which arena you fight in, but just as an overall tactics, I think it's pretty solid, sound idea of approaching fights. Monet will find Celery and vice versa. Monet very scared. Understandably doesn't have any information here about who's nearby, so he will back out. What's this build-up coming on Duracho? He's going BKB on the Medusa now, so protecting himself against all the mana burns. Don't know if it's going to be enough, but...
Yeah, you don't see that all too often.
It's
needed.
It's a really feels bad item on Medusa. Like, this hero does not want to buy BKB ever, if possible. So it's already a loss for Duracho that he has to buy it because it's extremely bad damage for gold. Yeah,
he's going to Lotus himself, but we'll just delay it.
Godlike Sumail. Just had a totally clean game, 9-0 and 4. Do you know how, I feel like we've had this conversation before, how does Shadow Strike Ags interact with illusions? Do they count as heroes when it expires?
Ooh, yeah, I don't remember.
Because it makes it a lot better against Dusa if it does, but I don't think it counts illusions for it. That would maybe be a little bit too crazy. That would make it ridiculous against PL, actually.
That's true. That's fine, though. I'd be fine with it.
Do you remember that patch? It got hotfixed where Sand King applied Caustic to everyone who stunned against PL. Literal one-shot.
If they only had just kept that in the game.
They could have kept that one in the game. Fuck PL. Like, that's fine.
Agreed.
Could have kept that. And Sand King needs some love anyway, so can we just make him a hard counter to one hero for no reason?
It actually just goes to show how bad PL is right now when Medusa's picked every game. And all you want is a diffusal carrier, and PL is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, it's not high on people's lists right now.
But if you made him universal...
Oh, yeah. Or give him his good old 4.2 agi gain back. Everybody loved that patch.
Scotty now online for Monet. They're just waiting for the next Roche.
Roche, yeah. They will be able to kill him in time here. They'll have 40 seconds of nighttime top, but don't. All right, looks like Gaimin are actually on their heels. Sumail, fortunately for him, there is a tier 1 tower top to TP2, and that's actually going to be important here if this fight breaks out. He has a connection point that is going to allow him to join the fight in about 10 seconds. And this looks to be about to start.
Yeah, right? They're going to have the illusions, so no save for a little bit.
Yeah, that's actually kind of important that this is on cooldown.
All right, Sumail's not here. They find Roche. They find the Bat Rider in the pit. It's almost daytime.
Yeah, Sumail's TPing now.
Baboka's taking so much damage. The Remnant's coming out from Quinn. Can he finish the job? He pops his BKB. You can see the Stone Gaze go off as well. And finally, the global silence as Monet turns into Medusa for the time being and then backs away, just trying to kite them away.
Sumail
chains onto 2. Sumail, yeah, he's really low. Has to be careful. They should kill off the 2 supports right off the bat, so Gaming Gladiators already at the disadvantage. It's a 5v3 for Aster, and Dyrachyo has to try to BKB TP, but it's not going to happen. Big Mana Void comes out. Down goes the Medusa. Ace has to try to back away. He's lost every other member of his team. He might be the lone survivor. He tries to go into the trees, attempting to TP out himself. The bash is there. Full team wipe for Aster, and they only lose Siamese Cat.
Nice Abyssal there in the end, coming in from XXS. Bit of a scrappy start. It's such a chaotic area to fight in for both teams, but ultimately Sumail just cleaning up the supports very early really sets the tone of the fight. Shadow Demon and Rubik barely did anything in this entire exchange, and I mean, sure, Gaming Gladiators, of course, did all they used everything they had in the tank, but just not enough damage. My favorite part of that fight was, of course, Morph turning into Medusa, and they were both just split-shotting each other for nothing.
The classic.
Yeah. This is looking very, very solid now for Aster. Gonna get an Aegis onto Monet.
Oh,
could have put it on Sumail, I think, to be honest. He's 11-0, and I don't feel like the Morph is at that much risk of dying, to be fair, this game. But, all right.
To each their own.
Yep. Sumail closing in on Kaya Sanj, and Morph eyeing up a Satanic.
How good does Block of Cheese need to be for pros to actually prioritize keeping the Lotuses? Right now it gives 500 HP.
Yeah.
Refreshed shield. 1,000? Is that good enough?
I don't know. I would rather have it be easier to assemble than making it better.
That wasn't the question, but thank you.
Yeah, there you go. That's your answer.
Yep, so it's not an answer.
Yeah.
Celery now has a shard thanks to the Tormentor. So that is the demonic cleanse, of course. So, how good is that this game?
You can self-target with this, right?
What's that?
You can self-target with it, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So you can use it as a premeditative way of blocking global, but, I mean, he obviously has Lotus, but it's such an edge case where, let's say you have Lotus on cooldown and you feel like the global is coming, you can... It's like Oracle starting to cast Fortune's End on himself when he thinks the global is coming, and then he instantly purges it.
I think it'd be better just to Lotus yourself and then Demonic Cleanse an ally to get rid of this time.
Absolutely, it's just if Lotus is on cooldown, right? If you've had to use it to protect against a lasso or whatever, then maybe you still have a play. It's like, it's such a small... It's not going to happen. So I'm very glad we spent 30 minutes on that. I like thinking about hypotheticals a lot. Did you know? Like,
I do too. I like theory crafting.
Yeah, mental gymnastics are very important. They're as important as physical gymnastics.
Sure.
You gotta challenge your brain. If you don't work it out, it loses its power. For some of us, there was no power to begin with, so we're trying to build it.
That's right. Monet back into the Medusa form.
Oh, I love
Trying
this.
to kill
This
these
is so
illusions.
exciting.
Very nice.
They expired before he killed them. That's always a thriller with Medusa illusions. Do they die or do they expire when 4 heroes are fighting them? All right.
Hey, 428 gold from the
Killed 12
Medusa
of them.
illusion.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Interestingly enough, the stat no support has killed any of the illusions. Absolute shocker.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh,
course.
look at that. Split shot stolen by Rubik. That'll
Oh.
be useful.
Yep.
I didn't know that was actually steal. Like, I thought it used to be the other way where you couldn't steal it, and then they actually patched it to make it stealable.
I think you could always steal split shot.
No, 100% not.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I mean it used to be a passive for one thing.
Yeah, but
Purely a passive.
since it became toggleable, I think you've been able to steal it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure about that.
Now Baboka, he's gonna lasso himself, but matters not.
There, the
Celery dying
demonic
is all that
cleanse
matters.
could have mattered there if they. That was a situation where your load is something else than global.
True.
Didn't matter. So I'm glad we spent another 10 seconds on it once again.
Yep, appreciate
ramping it
that.
up.
10 seconds of my life I can't get back.
I mean, you would have spent the 10 seconds regardless.
That's true. Well, you don't know that for sure, but
Oh.
probably true.
If I didn't say it, you would have walked out. All right, it's high ground chime. Monet.
16k lead for Aster. Making their high ground attempt. Fortification pop by Gaiman.
Look at Gaiman's hero placement. They have a hero in every lane, basically, right now. Just not defending whatsoever. This is a conceded lane.
Yes.
The question is, are you going to hold the second one? Because you didn't cut the mid wave. It is already coming in. So Aster have the opportunity to just keep going. They have 59 seconds on their Aegis. More than enough to get another lane. So if you're going to defend now, you effectively just lost the lane of barracks to then defend? Maybe they like the positioning here way more.
Back
We'll
in the
see.
Medusa form again. Remember, he doesn't have Aegis for another 40 seconds. We'll be using it.
Nice disruption there. Those
Cheese.
illusions owned.
On the AM as well, as this is probably go time for Game and Gladiators. Telekinesis on Monet gets Searing Chains as well, but we'll be able to waveform away safely as they get half the HP of the tower. You can see Ace in his Lycan form. Perhaps trying to kite him.
Yeah,
and
this
then
is really
reaggress
good for
after that's
Aster.
over.
Sure, you lose your Aegis, but it was about to expire anyway. But the Shapeshift being down is Game and Gladiators' arguably strongest hero is now out of play for a minute. If you go and make any sort of move here, it doesn't have to be a base push, could be starting a fight, executing a gank, whatever. You have a lot of safety. This hero...
Man, XSS is so farmed.
Yeah.
You can finish the Scotty just about right now.
He might as well be a carry at this point.
Oh my god. Oh, is this a... Okay, BKB to avoid the embarrassing Mana Void death will have to Stone Gaze as well. And here's the lasso onto Celery. Down he goes. And now you don't have Lycan ult. Now you don't have Medusa ult or BKB. Sumail getting caught off a bit, but gets off the Shadow Strike, so he's going to heal a little bit from that as Monet. Again, prefers being Medusa over himself at the moment.
Wave mid is coming in now. They do have trouble bottom, though. Actually being split pushed so hard that Sumail will go back and defend this. See if this opens up anything for Gaiman to take a 4v4 in their own half of the map without the Queen. Looks like they want to.
Oh, Quinn, yeah, he wants to fight. They're going to get that Bat Rider pretty easily. XXS looking to go back in. He jumps right on top of that Medusa, looking for the Mana Void. Out of mana completely. Not even needing it. Just right-clicks him into Oblivion. Quinn getting focused, getting bashed, and he takes the Mana Void instead. Double kill for the AM. Sumail with the Sonic Wave, and that should be close to doing it as... That was not live. Good try, production.
Smacking some flies. I mean, the enemy team might as well be flies to Sumail in this game. 12-0.
Yeah, he's owning.
Completely smacking them around. Someone bring the fly swatter. Daracho.
Daracho, who just bought back. Doesn't have a ton of mana. Gets bashed up and brought down again.
It is over.
That fly was vanquished, and so were Game and Gladiators in game number 1 as Aster looking pretty good. I mean, Sumail has looked extremely good ever since joining him during that major as a stand-in and now as an official member.